discussing the first half of this unit, which is the material handling system. Um, so I'll just get started. Just tell me if the slides are visible to you. Is the screen visible? Are the slides visible?
No, ma'am.
What
Your
is,
desktop with students is visible.
now
No,
automated material handling.
no, ma'am.
Okay, now is it visible? Is the
Yes, ma'am.
presentation
Yes,
visible?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So as I said, this is the first half part of Unit 4, which is part of your syllabus for the third internal, which is going to start from 14th. And the performance in second internal is okay, not uh, up to the mark. I have just observed one thing with respect to the problems of Unit 3, whether it is the OBA that you all have answered or the second internal. The problems in Unit 3, whatever questions were asked, you all are not able to solve them properly. And that's where maybe in OBA most of you have lost marks because the problem is solved incomplete. You haven't solved it correctly and completely. So most of you must have lost your marks in the assignment. Whereas in internals, I have observed that most of you have not solved only the problem. Not even 10% of the students have attempted the problem, whereas the problem was actually a very simple problem. And those who have attempted it have almost got it correct, and they have got full marks for the problem. And also the way you all are writing your theory answers, it needs to be improved, because now I hope you all are aware that your SWE is going to be offline. Already the notices have been sent to you all that your SWE is going to be offline. If this is the kind of preparation you people are going to have, then it will be really difficult for you all. So start preparing yourselves properly. And with respect to the problem, especially theory, okay, if you all can manage, no problem. But then when it comes to all the numericals of this complete the sim subject, if you'll have any doubts, if you'll require any extra sessions to be taken, please let me know, because the problems are very important. And at least 30-40% of your paper is going to be problems. So make sure that you'll have understood the problems correctly and are able to solve it. So moving on to Unit 4, we will be talking about the material transport system. And in this specifically, we are going to talk about the automated guided vehicles. And there is this analysis part with respect to these AGVs, that is automated guided vehicles. When I talk about analysis part, I mean that there are these problems that we need to solve with respect to AGVs. So in this Unit 4 also, we are going to have problems to be solved. So let us understand what is this topic all about. So, automated material handling system, it basically is going to help you improve efficiency of transportation, storage, and retrieval of material. So, by transportation, what do we mean? We mean that this automated material handling system is going to help us move the parts from one place to or one location to other location. So, these automated material handling systems can also help you move the parts from one location to the storage where all the parts are going to be stocked up. And also these can be helped in moving the materials from the storage system, that is the retrieval that we that's what is shown here. Retrieval is nothing but the parts which are stocked up into the storage, you want to take them out in and then move it to certain location. So these automated material handling systems basically help you to move the parts from the store, basically help you to move the parts from the storage to the storage, and overall they help us to improve the efficiency of this whole transportation process. So examples are these computerized conveyors, automated storage and retrieval systems, in which computers direct the automatic loaders to pick and place the items. So these automated storage and retrieval systems, ASRS, what we call, we are not studying about them in detail. Otherwise, we do have a topic as automated storage and retrieval system, wherein you will be studying about the complete system, how a storage unit can be actually automated. So you don't have people who are going to the storage units, rather it's completely an automated system. You have the storage locations fed into the memory, or it is there into the program, and your these material handling systems go exactly to that particular location, pick the parts from that storage unit, or they will place it there. So this is also a very interesting and a very nice topic to understand, that is this automated storage and retrieval system. So as we are talking about these um, course projects and course seminars, so if anybody is really interested, you all can even pick this topic of automated storage and retrieval system. Even this is quite an interesting topic, which is related to our syllabus, but yes, it's not a part of your syllabus for now, for this particular course. Okay. So automated guided vehicles, that is AGV system, it uses embedded floor wires to direct the wireless vehicles to various locations in the plant. So automated guided vehicles, we will be calling it as the AGV. Um, it is basically a driverless vehicle. You will see that there is no human being on it who is going to operate the vehicle. Rather, the vehicle is going to move independently. It is going to be a driverless vehicle which will be moving from one location to the other location. So these benefits of automated material handling system, they include the very obvious benefits, like there is a quicker material movement, low inventories and storage space, reduced product damage, and higher labor productivity, because there is no interference of a human being in all of these tasks. So you can see that the movement of materials will be faster. There will be less inventory and storage space which will be required, because there is going to be no lag in moving the parts, right? It is going to be quickly picked from one place and kept it to its destination which the part has to move to. So because of all this, there will be lower inventories and storage space, and there will be reduced product damage, because there is no person who is going to handle it, and because of which there can be some mishandling that can happen and damage the product. So as everything is going to be automated, so these are the benefits of it. So what are the objectives? After studying this unit, you should be able to understand the importance of AGVs in sim, role of industrial robots in sim, and alternative for automated material handling system. So, why use automation in material handling? Of course, why use automation, or reasons for automation are already known to us. In the very first unit, you all must have already come across the reasons why we go for automation. So, similar are the reasons why, or yeah, why we are going to automate the material handling system, because it gives the following benefits. So whenever this word automation comes, wherever your may it be the material handling system, may it be just the automation, or may it be any where else where automation is applied, it is going to give the benefits on the similar lines. So why use automation in material handling? One, it will help you to increase labor productivity, reduce labor cost, mitigate the effect of labor shortages, reduce or remove routine manual and clerical tasks, to improve the worker safety, to improve product quality, to reduce manufacturing lead time, to accomplish what cannot be done manually. So I'm not going to talk much about these uses of automation in material handling, because these points are already being discussed somewhere or the other, and these are basically the most important reasons why a person will go for automation. Knowing that it's going to give these following benefits, that's when a person actually thinks of automating the system. Okay. So material transport equipments, we have these different types of equipments which are used in the industries. A few are listed here, maybe few more can be listed here. So the ones which are listed here are the industrial trucks, AGVs, that is automated guided vehicles, robots, monorails and other rail guided vehicles, conveyors, cranes and hoists. So industrial trucks, you all know what these are. AGVs will be studying. We know how robots are used for material transport. We have these monorails and other rail guided vehicles. If you actually see some mining units and all, you will see all these rail guided vehicles. Monorails are also those which are arranged overhead on the roofs. You have the complete frame, and then you have the material transport done with the help of these monorails. We know what are these conveyors. We are also aware of what are cranes and hoists. And also, we'll be seeing all these as and when we proceed with our discussion. So, for us, AGVs is most important in this particular unit, that is automated guided vehicles. So, what are these automated guided vehicles? What is AGV? So, material handling system that uses independently operated self-propelled vehicles which are guided along defined pathways. So this is very important definition of AGV. You all have to either note down this definition or remember it correctly. First of all the words which are in bold, very important words when you talk about AGVs. So AGVs are material handling systems which are independently operated. They are self-propelled and they will be guided along a defined pathway. So when I talk about an automated guided vehicle, it will be moving on its own, right? There is nobody who is controlling it. Of course there is a system in place which is controlling it, but you will not see a human being who is actually operating it, or he's not, a driver is not present who is actually going to help the AGV move ahead. It is going to be a self-propelled vehicle, but there has to be a defined pathway for the AGV to move. So if there is no defined pathway, the AGV will not be able to move, or it will not be able to operate. Right. So AGV requires a defined pathway. It has, you have to tell it, or if you have to program the path. Um, Sorry, you have to program the AGV such that it will follow the path that you have laid down. Okay, so in, if you consider a plant in which you want the AGV to move from one location to the other location, you have to define a path for that particular AGV to move from that location to the other location. So AGV, it is a system that uses independently operated self-propelled vehicles which are guided along the defined pathways. AGVs, they help increase efficiency and reduce the cost by helping to automate a manufacturing facility or a warehouse. AGVs are employed in nearly every industry, including paper, metals, newspapers, and general manufacturing. They follow guideline circuits connecting various workstations in the warehouse. So, moving on, automated guided vehicle system, that is AGVs, commonly known as the driverless vehicles, are turning out to be an important part of an automated manufacturing system. Okay. So when we talk about SIM, that is computer integrated manufacturing, where you have automation as a major concept there, AGVs are playing a very vital role in most of the industries today. You will see these automated guided vehicles in place, which will be moving the materials from one place to another. So, with the shift from mass production to mid volume and mid variety, flexible manufacturing systems are increasingly in use. So, flexible manufacturing systems are very much beneficial if you consider the other type of manufacturing system, because in flexible manufacturing system, the system will be flexible enough to accommodate any changes that are made to the product, and also it will be able to provide the production quantity as required. So flexible manufacturing systems are the ones which are increasingly in use, and in um, all of these actually require these automated material handling systems. So they require not only machine flexibility, but yes, also the material handling, storage, and retrieval flexibility. And by using these AGVs and all, you are going to help them gain this material handling flexibility. So hence the importance of AGVs has grown in the manifold. AGVs belong to a class of highly flexible, intelligent, and versatile material handling system, which is used to transport the materials from various loading locations to various unloading locations throughout the facilities. So, as I said, whenever you think of any facility or whenever you think of any production plant, why do we where the part has to be moved, or what happens to the parts is it just enters in and it has to go out as a final product. Okay, so the part full time will be moving from one location to another location. So material handling systems are very important, which will help you to transport the materials from various locations. It may be either loading the part to a certain workstation where there is some process happening on it or some assembly operation happening on it, and then you take that part back from that location, that is unloading, and you move it to the next location. So these material handling systems are going to help you transport the materials from various loading locations to various unloading locations. Yes. So, what are the components of AGVs? And there are four main components of an automated guided vehicle system, and they are as follows: the vehicle itself, which is used to move the materials within the system without a human operator; the guide path. Yes, AGV cannot be possible if there is no guide path, which will actually help you to guide the vehicle to move along the path. Then the control unit. As everything is automated, there has to be something which is going to control it, with the help of which the AGV can actually move. So this control unit, it monitors and directs the system operations, including feedback on moves, inventory, and vehicles. And next is the computer interface. It is connected with other computers and systems such as mainframe host computers, the automated storage retrieval, and the flexible manufacturing system. So as AGV is going to be a part of the complete system, you cannot have AGV moving independent of, or it is not at all integrated to any other systems in place. So AGV, it should have these computer interfaces which will help it to connect with other computers and the systems in the facility that is there. So the components of AGV is vehicle, guide path, the control unit, and the computer interface. Different types of AGVs. There are different types of automated guided vehicles that are able to cater different service requirements. The vehicle types include the towing vehicles, AGV unit load transporter, pallet trucks, forklift trucks, light load transporter, assembly line vehicles. There are a number of different types of AGVs in place. So these are some of the um, basic material handling equipments that you can see here. You have the forklift truck, which is here. I think most of you must have seen such type of material handling equipments when you come across different videos, when you'll be checking all these different programs and shows which come, or if you'll have visited any industries, big industries, of course, you will come across such type of forklift trucks. These are called as the industrial trucks. Okay, next is a unit load automated guided vehicle, a unit load AGV. You can see this is an AGV which is independent. It will be moving independently. It is driverless. There is no driver. Whereas if you see this industrial truck, you have uh, a place where you can accommodate a driver who will be driving this industrial truck. But whereas if you see this, the second image, that is the unit load AGV, there is no driver here. It will be self-driven, or it is going to be a driverless equipment which will be moving from one place to another. Next is the monorail. This is a monorail that you see, which is basically operated electric with the help of electricity. You have these electrified rails, and you have these motors in place. So this is the hook that you see here, provision for the material to be placed on, or yeah, the material will be hooked here and it will be moved. So this again has its own restrictions. It can be moved only in a linear direction. You cannot just take it anywhere at all. And such type of material handling equipments are most suitable to carry heavy and bulky parts from one location to another, and not very far off. Small distance movements are very much possible with the help of these monorails. Next is this conveyors, roller conveyors. We have already talked about these roller conveyors in the previous unit. And then you have this jib crane, or the hoists that we have, the cranes and the hoists. So this is also very much not very flexible, of course. These will be very rigid, and they are going to have a definite fixed structure. Only within that structure you can move the part from one place to another. And of course these are very much helpful when you want to move heavy parts from one place to another. So these are the different type of material handling equipments. Now talking about the driverless trains, these are a type of AGVs. They consist of a towing vehicle, which is the AGV that pulls. So this is the AGV that is there, and these are the carts on which the parts will be kept. So this is not a unit load carrier. On unit load carrier that you have seen here, it has provision for the parts to be kept on it. Whereas this is the one which is going to drive. This is an AGV, automated guided vehicle, which is going to um, basically pull the crates on which the parts are going to be placed. So one or more trailers forming a train, you can attach one or two, or if it has a better capacity, maybe another one also can be attached. So it all depends upon the load bearing capacity of this driverless train. It is capable of carrying these heavy payloads. Large distances in warehouse can be covered with the help of these driverless trains. This is with or without intermediate pickup and drop off points along this path. So if you have any intermediate pick and drop option requirement, then it's possible, or else it can directly go from one location to another, and it can travel a longer distance as well. So these are the driverless trains, which are the material handling equipments. So this is an example of a driverless train which is used in an industry. You can see based on its capacity, you have more than two carts which are there here, and you can just see the material that it is transporting from one place to another. You can see how bulky it is. So this is a heavy payload which it is carrying from one location to another. Yeah, am I audible? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Slide is visible, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So next is this pallet truck, most common material handling equipment you will see in the industries. Even if you go to any of the local industries, you can see such. Maybe a slightly different design in this, but similar kind of trucks are seen in most of the industries around, even in Belgium here. So these are used to move palletized loads along the predetermined routes. Pallet is here. Here you can see this is a pallet on which all the parts are going to be stocked up. So if you can imagine some small parts which are loose and not packed properly, it will be difficult to place them on this pallet, because there are chances of those parts to be slipped, and they can just fall down anywhere. So these pallets are one which are going to be very much useful when you have all the parts that have to be moved from one location to another. They should be all stocked up properly on this pallet. Only then you can move it. Okay. So packing is very important here, and So these pallet trucks, they are used to move the palletized loads along the predetermined routes. The vehicles are backed into loaded pallet by workers, and the pallet is then elevated from the floor. So you can see there's a pallet fork here. So there's a driver here who will be here, platform for the human operator. This is a drive wheel that you see, and this is a bumper. This will just help you not to bump into something that is there in front. It will help you to protect the vehicle from um, bumping into some obstacles that are there in front. So the this pallet truck, with the help of operator, you can just move it, and there is provision on this pallet to accommodate these pallet forks into. So you first are going to just lift it, get elevated a little from the floor. You insert these pallet forks into this pallet, and then lift this pallet on these pallet forks, and the worker, he will then drive the pallet truck to AGV guided path and program the destination. So here you have provision for human operator. There are some AGVs which will not have the provision for human operator. Once the loading is done, the AGV will follow the guided path and it will move from one location to the other location. So you can see here, this is a pallet truck. Yeah, this is a pallet truck. You can see these are the forks of this pallet truck. This is a pallet, and you can see this is another pallet which is stocked up with all the material that has to be moved from one location to another. So on this pallet, in a uniform way, you will have to stock up all the parts. Okay, so this is a pallet and the pallet truck. Unit load carrier. So these are used to move unit loads from one station to another, a light load AGV up to 250 kgs or less. So, like in the previous case, we have here we have the pallet carrying all the load. There is no part material handling space on the vehicle itself, whereas here on this unit load carrier you will see that there is on this vehicle itself you will have the loading station. You can just place all the parts here itself and the HEV will move, but this has the limitation with respect to the load carrying capacity. It can up to 250 kgs or even less than that is the load carrying capacity of it. You can use this unit load carrier. So this is also a type of HEV. Here you can see this is a type of AGV, that is a unit load carrier. So this is all about the AGVs, forklift trucks. So here you can see there are these different types of forklift trucks. First one is a walkie truck, where you will actually have a human being. This is not automated. You have a human being who will be controlling it. This is kind of it will be like powered. It's not completely automated. With the steering and control lever that is there, you can have an operator in place here and he will be actually moving it. Next is forklift truck. So this is the one which we have already seen. You have the driver who will be moving it, and then there is this towing tractor. This also we have seen. So all of these what you see here, the forklift trucks, they are all human operated, or you have the person moving it from one place to another. They are not completely automated. So three types of automated guided vehicles. You can see the driverless automated guided train. Here it is driverless. Next is the AGV pallet truck, that is here, AGV, and next is the unit load carrier. So if you have to answer the types of AGVs, then these are the three types of AGVs: driverless automated guided train, AGV pallet truck, and the unit load carrier. Important, very important part about AGV is this vehicle guidance. Vehicle guidance is very important because the AGV, the device or that AGV machine, it's in place, but how is it going to move if you are not going to show it a defined pathway? There are very less chances that the AGV can move on its own. So the vehicle guidance is very important here. So the guidance system is the method by which AGV's pathway are defined and vehicles are controlled to follow that pathway. So the primary objective of a guidance system is to keep the vehicle in pre-designated path. So you have these control systems in place which are actually going to help you maintain or keep that vehicle on that particular pathway. So the main advantage of AGV guidance is that guide path can be changed easily at low cost compared with the high cost of modifying fixed path equipment such as conveyors, chains, and low lines. So we know all these conveyors, chains, and all these are also material handling systems, but these are fixed. You cannot change once you lay them. You cannot change them. If you want to change uh, the location of pick and drop of that particular part, and if you have a conveyor, then it's very difficult because the conveyors are quite rigid. They're not flexible enough. Once you lay them, it's going to be fixed. Whereas if you consider an AGV as a material handling system, the AGV just has to have a defined pathway, and it will follow that. So if you want to make changes, it can easily accommodate because it is the path that has to be changed, and the AGV will just follow that path. So the selection will depend on the need, application, and environmental constraints. There are widely used methods to set the path for AGV. These three methods are very important. So you can get a very obvious question that can be asked in exam is sketch and explain the vehicle guidance systems. Maybe you have to explain all the three, or we will specifically ask you to explain one of them with proper sketches. Okay, so please try and understand these vehicle guidance systems correctly. The first one is embedded guide wires, paint strips is second, and third is the self guided vehicles. So this embedded guide wires is a very interesting vehicle guidance system or vehicle guidance technology that we call. So you can see the figure here, it is shown. This is operation of an onboard sensor system that uses two coils to track the magnetic field in the guide wires. So you can see here, this is an embedded guide wire system. This um, aqua bluish greenish color that you see here, this is the AGV. This is the floor that is there down here. On the floor, usually what they do is they cut the floor such that it will be around 3 to 12 mm wide, sorry, 3 to 12 mm wide, and around 13 to 26 mm deep. So you can see there's kind of a groove that will be cut into the floor initially, and in that particular groove that is there, you have a guided wire placed. So this is connected to a low voltage, low current with frequency generation of around 1 to 15 kilohertz. And then you have sensors in place which will be placed on these AGVs, which will be um, sensing the electromagnetic field which is given off by this guided wire. So based on this, the sensors and the guided wires which are in place, the AGV will be following the path. So these embedded wires, guided vehicles that are there, they are faster and safer, more accurate, less costly, simpler, and less programming required. So if you actually see this, there is very less programming required. This AGV has to simply follow the instructions given by the sensors. There are these sensors in place which will be sensing the electromagnetic field, and they will be just following that path. Once this groove is cut into the floor and the wire is placed, you again patch off this groove with the help of cement. You again going to you'll just patch up the floor such that there are no non-uniformities on that floor. So here in this embedded guided wire method, electrical wires are placed in small channel which is cut into the surface of the floor. The channel is typically around 3 to 12 mm wide and 13 to 26 mm deep. After the guide wire is installed, the channel is filled with cement to eliminate the discontinuity in the floor surface. So the guide wire is connected to a frequency generator which emits a low voltage, low current signal with a frequency in the range of 1 to 15 kilohertz. This includes a magnetic field along the pathway that can be followed by the sensors on board each vehicle. The operation of a typical system is illustrated in the figure as shown here. So this is very simple but very important technology in place which is used to move the AGVs from one location to the other. So these guide wires which will be placed on the floor are the predetermined pathway for this AGV. They will follow this. Now here what is shown is a very small guide of the pathway which is shown like this in the complete facility or in the complete plant that is there. You will have it. Not necessary that you will have the path only in a straight line. You can also have them in different branches as the AGV has to move. So it can even have these different turns that it has to take, and wherever it has to move, you just have to have these guide wires placed. So this is the first guidance technology, that is embedded guide wire. Next is okay, in this embedded guide wire, there's this frequency select method and this path switch select method. So as I said, when it comes to movement of the vehicle from one location to another, it may not always be a straight line movement, right? There may be some turn that has to be taken. So when it comes to taking a turn, how is that being made possible? So one method is the frequency select method and the other one is the path switch select method. What is this frequency select method? So in the frequency select method, the guide wires leading into two separate paths at the switch have different frequency. So here you know that this particular guide wire is going to have set at certain frequency. Now suppose from here you want to take a right turn. Okay, so that groove that is made on the floor will have a different frequency, and this AGV will be programmed in such a way that you will tell that initially you will be following this frequency. After so much distance is covered, you switch to other frequency. So when it comes to this particular location, and if there are these branching out of the paths that is happening, it will follow the program instructions and it will go to that path based on the frequency of that path. So all the paths on the floor will have different frequencies. Okay, not necessary that all the paths are going to have the same frequency. So depending upon which method you select, you will have the frequency change seen. Like for this method, that is frequency select method, all the paths will be having different frequencies. But if you consider this path switch select method, the complete route is going to have one single frequency. So it depends upon which method you want to choose. So here in the frequency select method, the guide wire leading into the two separate paths at the switch have different frequency. As the vehicle enters the switch, it reads and in identification code on the floor to determine its location. So depending on its programmed destination, the vehicle chooses the correct guide path by following only one of the frequencies. So this method requires a separate frequency generator for each different frequency used in the guide path layout. So I hope this is understandable. When it comes to vehicle guidance, straight line movement, okay, fine, you can just have a single frequency. But if you have to branch out, if you want to take a different turn, if you want to go in a different direction, that time how will you control that AGV? Okay, in that case you can go for this frequency select method, where every path that it has to follow will have a different frequency, and it will follow the program. In the program of instructions, you will tell it which frequency it has to follow, and accordingly it will change its direction in order to meet the location. Next method is the path switch select method. The path switch select method, it operates with a single frequency throughout the guide path layout. So may there be any number of branches that are branch outs that are there, like maybe there are these different turns it has to take in that plan. All the paths are going to have one signal frequency throughout the layout. To control the path of a vehicle at a switch, the power is turned off in all other branches except the one that the vehicle is to travel on. So you can imagine, if suppose the vehicle has to move in a straight line, then take a right turn, then go ahead for some distance, take a left turn, and so on. Every other path which is there on that layout will be switched off, and only the path where it has to move, only those paths frequency will be switched on. So to accomplish routing by the path switch select method, the guide path layout is divided into blocks that are electrically insulated from each other. The block can be turned on and off either by the vehicle themselves or by a central computer control computer. So of course all these the complete in the complete layout, all these paths will be again split into different blocks, and they will be activated as required. So those blocks which have the certain path that has to be followed, only those blocks will be energized, only those will be um, given power supply, the others will be electrically insulated so that the AGV will not follow those paths. So, in this guidance, vehicle guidance system or the technology, you have embedded guide wire, paint strips, and self-guided vehicles. So, this is the first one, that is embedded guide wires. In embedded guide wires, these are the two types: frequency select method and the path switch select method. So, choosing appropriate path in wire guided system, these are the advantages of one over the other. Use frequency select method, it uses different frequency generators for different paths, whereas path select method, it has same frequency. Frequency select method, it guide the guide wires leading into the two separate paths at the switch have different frequencies. Here at switch, power is turned off in all the branches except the one that the vehicle is to travel on. In the frequency select method, at switch, vehicle reads identification code of destination frequency and follows it. So advantages and drawbacks of the same. You can just read this. Next method or the next guidance technology is the paint strips. That is optical navigation system here. These are very interesting again, and simple as compared to the embedded wire system. You do not have to actually channel make any channels in the floor. You just have to place a tape, or maybe you can have some paint on the floor, and you can have these sensors which are optical sensors, or these yeah, these optical sensors or the UV sensors which we get, those are going to be placed on the AGVs such that they can sense them. So you have these chemicals or tape strips which are fixed on the or painted to the floor, which contains fluorescent particles which will be reflecting these UV light sources from the vehicles. So in that paint, or the strips that you're going to place in order to for this AGV to follow it, you are going to add some fluorescent particles such that whenever an UV light falls on that fluorescent particle, it reflects the light back, and that light will be sensed by the sensors on the AGVs, and that in turn will help you to follow a certain path. So vehicles have an onboard sensor which allows it to detect the path. You'll have these optical sensors in place. So not typically used in plants or warehouses because floor line needs to be cleaned and reapplied as it deteriorates with time. So a lot of clean environment is required if you want to use these paint strips. Suppose if you're using such type of AGVs in some um you can't use them into those industries which are very much messy and have a lot of dust and dirt around, because if that's the case, then the uh, paint or those tapes are going to get deteriorated very often, and there has to be a reapplication every now and then. So it is basically useful in environment where guide wires in the floor surface is not practical. So most preferred one would be these embedded guide wires, which can be used in any sort of industries, any form of industries, whether it's clean or maybe it's very dusty or anything like that, you can use those. But in case if you cannot use the embedded wire, you can use the paint strips. Again, it has these constraints of having, it should have a very clean environment at work. Only then you can use these paint strips. Advantages and drawbacks, you can just go through later. I'll share this PPT in the classroom. Next is the magnetic tape or the grid navigation system. So magnetic tape, it works something similar like our paint strips or the embedded wires, but here we are using the magnets in place. So magnetic tape is adhered to the surface of the floor. So here in place of your paint or the embedded wire, you have the magnetic strips which will be adhered, which will be pasted on the floor. The sensors on underside of the vehicle detect the magnetic plates. So you have sensors which will be placed on the underside below these vehicles, which will sense the magnet there. And these can operate off tape path, and these are similar to the wire guidance. Last is the self-guided vehicles. Self-guided vehicles, that is SGVs, they represent the latest AGVs guidance technology. So this is also guidance technology. In guidance technology, as I said, first is embedded wire, second is paint strip, and the third is the self-guided vehicles. Okay, so unlike the previous two guidance method, SGVs operate without continuously defined pathways. So self-guided vehicles, if you see in industries, you will not even see the pathway. There is no predefined pathway for it. This is a latest development in the AGVs, which do not even require a predefined pathway. But of course, there has to be some system in which will help it to move. There has to be something which will be controlling it. It may not be the pathway, but there has to be something which will help the AGV or guide the AGV to move from one location to another. And what is that? They use a combination of dead reckoning and beacons, which are located throughout the plant, which can be identified by an onboard sensor. So, what are these dead reckonings? Reckonings. They refer to the capability of the vehicle to follow a given route in the absence of a defined path in the floor. Whereas these beacons, they means a fire or light set up in a high or prominent position as a warning or a signal. So these are basically locations in the layout which are basically going to help guide the SGVs to move from one location to another. So the advantage of these self-guided vehicle technology over the fixed path is its flexibility. So the SGV pathway are defined in the software. The path network can be changed by inserting the required data into the navigation computer. New docking points can be set. The pathway network can be expanded by installing new beacons. These modifications can be created rapidly and without major alterations in the plant facility. So SGVs are most flexible type of AGVs. They do not have any constraints, any restrictions with respect to the pathway. They can move anyhow in the plant provided they have these dead reckoning and the beacons in place which will help them to or which will guide them in the movement from one place to another. And all of this is going to be defined in the software itself. Any changes you want to make, you can easily make it just by giving the instructions in that particular program. So these are the self-guided vehicles. Next is this vehicle routing. In factory, the path followed by AGVs may be complex. Yes, we know it's not always going to be simple, and the factory layouts can be very huge as well. So these plants may contain multiple loops, branches, side tracks, along with loading and unloading path. So routing refers to the ability of vehicle to select one among the several potential pathways to move to the destination point. So this vehicle routing we have already studied now, we have already seen now. It is just under a different topic that we are discussing the same points. We just saw how if you have any turns and tracks to be changed, how that can be done. We have already seen those two methods. One is the frequency select method and the other is the path switch select method. So under vehicle routing, again we would be discussing the same points. As we have already discussed this, I'm not again going to talk about it. So just know that in vehicle routing, there are two important techniques. One is the frequency select method, and the other is the path switch select method. So whenever an AGV approaches at a junction of two paths, a decision has to be made by the vehicle to decide the path that it has to follow. So this particular point, it is called as the decision point of the vehicle. Okay. So the this is about the vehicle routing. Next important thing is the traffic control. So it's not always just one AGV which will be moving in the complete layout. There will be number of AGVs. There may be different types of AGVs. So how will you control the traffic? Right? Just like we have our regular traffic on the road where we have number of vehicles moving around. The intensity of course is not that much, but there are a few vehicles which will be moving. They're all driverless. There is nobody who's actually looking at it. Like there is no driver. It is all getting controlled on its own with the help of these control systems. But there has to be some traffic control also. So the purpose of traffic control in an automated guided vehicle system, it is to minimize interference between vehicles and to prevent collisions. Then there are these two methods of traffic control which are used in commercial AGV systems, and that are onboard vehicle sensing and zone control. Yet another important question here, that is, how can the AGV traffic be controlled in a layout? One is an onboard vehicle sensing, and next way or method is the zone control. Let's see what are these two. Onboard vehicle sensing. Onboard vehicle sensing, it is also called as forward sensing, which involves the use of one or more sensors. Okay, I'll just explain you what is this onboard vehicle sensing. Onboard vehicle sensing is nothing but there will be sensors which will placed in front of the vehicle. Okay, at the front portion of the vehicle there are these sensors which will be placed, and any obstacle that comes in front of it will be sensed by the sensor, and it will not allow the vehicle to move ahead. That obstacle could be anything. It could be some part in the layout, it could be some human being standing, it can be some other AGV that is there in front, any sort of obstacle that is there. The sensors will sense that in front of them and they will stop them. Okay, once that obstacle is removed, then it will start moving. So there is a predefined path that it is following. Once it is following that predefined path, doesn't mean that it will just go on. No, it will not. It has to check the safety also, and in order to have the safety in place, you are going to have this onboard vehicle sensing system where the sensors are placed in front of the vehicle. That is, the forward sensing is what is done here. So onboard vehicle sensing, also called as forward sensing, it involves the use of one or more sensors on each vehicle to detect the presence of other vehicle and obstacles ahead of the guide path. Sensor technologies include optical and ultrasonic devices. When the onboard sensor detects an obstacle in front of it, the vehicle stops. When the obstacle is removed, the vehicle proceeds. If the sensor system is 100% effective, collision between vehicles are avoided. The effectiveness of forward sensing is limited to the capability of sensor to detect obstacles that are in front of it and on the guide path. These systems are most effective in straight path. They are less effective in turns and convergence points where forward vehicle may not be directly in front of the sensor. So here, these onboard sensing are very much effective when you have straight paths as compared to the turns or the convergence points. Okay. Onboard sensing, one or more sensors on the vehicle which detect presence of other vehicle, obstacles, or human nearby, more effective in straight paths, less effective in turns and conversion points. Zone control, yet another interesting way of or method of controlling traffic. In zone control, the AGV layout is divided into separate zones on operating rule, and that one vehicle is permitted to enter one zone if that zone is already occupied by another vehicle. Sorry. There is no vehicle which will be permitted to enter into a zone if that zone is already occupied by another vehicle. So the length of the zone is at least sufficient to hold one vehicle plus allowance for safety and other consideration. Other considerations include number of vehicles in the system, size and complexity of layout, and the objective of minimizing the number of separate zone controls. So for these reasons, the zones are normally much longer than a vehicle length. By controlling the forward movement of vehicle in the separate zone, collisions are prevented and traffic in the overall system is controlled. So here you can see a zone control example. So if this is the guide path for the AGV, the straight line, it this guide path is going to be split into zones. You will divide it into zones. So this is zone 1, that is zone A, zone B, zone C, and zone D. So you can see at a time there is only one AGV present in one zone. If there is already one AGV present in one zone, no other AGV can enter into it. Once that AGV leaves the zone, only then it can enter into the next zone. So here, this AGV2 has the scope of moving to zone C. Okay, whereas AGV1 cannot move to zone B until AGV2 vacates it. So this is how you can have the control of traffic with the help of the zone control method. So zone control to implement blocking system, zone A, B and D are blocked. Zone C is free. Vehicle 2 is blocked from entering zone A by vehicle 1. Vehicle 3 is free to enter zone C. So these are the two types of traffic controls. One is the zone control and the other one is the onboard sensing. So these are the different vehicle dispatchings. Conveyor types, we have already come across all these: rollers, skate wheels, belts, in-floor towlins. So we have discussed all these things. So I'm not discussing again the same things. Cranes and hoists. So you have these, there are these frames in place, the bridges, you have the runway guides here, this complete bridge that is there. With the help of this hoist trolley, it can be moved in the layout. Gantry crane, these are different types of cranes, jib crane. Okay. So shall I continue and finish off this part now, or you want me to take in class again tomorrow? There's only this analysis part, just few equations to be discussed, and then we can stop. So shall I continue, or again you want a class tomorrow? So if I continue now, there will be no class tomorrow. You all can just start preparing for your test. If you don't want me to continue now, then I can take a class tomorrow.
Ma'am, continue.
Okay.